What's up, you nerds?
That's not very nice.
What's up,
Wes.
Max?
What's up, dude?
Welcome to another episode of the Suited Kings podcast. Today, we're going to do part 2 of our story. We're going to hear mostly from Max today about his entire poker journey, what the game means to him, what he loves about it, learn some new things. I'm sure I'll learn some new things
I love
about
making
him.
money.
Yeah. I like making money too.
Sometimes
Sometimes it doesn't do that though.
Yeah,
but
it's not always. It's not the only thing I love about it, but that's the main thing I think.
Yeah. Making other people sad. I like when other people lose money. That's what I like.
Are you, Wes? I think you might be a bad person. I'm just kidding, buddy. I know. So we're just having fun here, anyways. Yeah, round 2 of our poker store. Looking forward to getting to that. But before we do, Wes, the Winter Poker Classic has started at Canterbury this week. I think the tag team event is tonight.
Oh, it is.
I'm going to be sitting it out because, you know, when you get old, you get injured by sleeping, apparently.
Yeah, what is that thing on your shoulder? You're walking like an old man today.
I have a heated rice bag over my shoulder because my neck is like strained or something. I don't know. I can barely turn my head though. So I'm just going to sit this one out tonight and let you and Carney ship it.
Yeah, that's the plan. I don't know if you saw in our Discord group, but someone was saying like, oh, I can't wait to see what you guys are going to be wearing. And I said, you'll see it in the winner's photo. And then someone else came in and said, well, that's interesting. I just looked at your Hendon mob and you've never even final tabled a tag team event. So
Good for them. I like that.
Daniel Kennedy, I think it was who said that.
You guys go back us up in our Discord channel, unless you're Daniel Kennedy.
Yeah.
Go hop in the Discord channel. You can find a link to it on my Twitter. Still, you know, that thing's been popping off. But
every day we have great hand discussions, great general poker discussions.
Yeah, it's a sweet community. It's growing, and it's where we want it to be going in the direction. You know what I mean? So super happy about that. What else are you playing besides the tag team, Wes?
So I'll be playing the Mystery Bounty.
Okay.
I will be playing the multi-day. There's a multi-day 400, or like Monday through Wednesday.
Okay, hopefully next time we have a conversation, one of us will be hoisting that trophy.
Yeah, and
Or
then
I've
you'll be
hoisted
taking
it.
pictures of me doing it. So, and then
I wouldn't mind that, actually.
Yeah, that's fair. That's
Because
fair.
we'll probably swap a little.
Yeah, I guess we will. We
Okay.
will.
Speaking of swap, I think I owe you money from the
That's
Avalanche.
right, you do.
All right. I mean, so, you know, I've been hitting the casino a lot, and I'm kind of broke, by the way. I put it all in black.
Yeah, it's all over.
It's all over.
Is that what the for sale sign is in front of your house? Is that's why?
No, it's not a for sale sign. It's a foreclosure sign.
Oh boy, it's that bad. Well, yeah, maybe I'll just free roll you a few percent to my tournament just out of.
I'd appreciate that, considering I didn't have a chunk of your Gladiator or your Fall Poker Classic main wins.
Yeah, that's true.
Anyways,
yeah, that's true.
I'm going to be playing the same thing as you. I'm going to be firing up, not the tag team tonight. I'm sitting that one out. I'm going to, tomorrow, I'm going to play, on Thursday, I'm going to play the Mystery Bounty. So I'm going to take a listen to our Mystery Bounty episode before on my way there. Just get refresher, you know what I mean?
Yeah. No, that's a good idea.
Yeah, and you know, you guys should be listening to this on day 1A of that event. Just so you know, if you haven't listened to it yet, or even if you have, go and check out our Mystery Bounty strategy episode. We put out maybe a few months back, right before the Running Aces MSPT Mystery Bounty. A lot of good nuggets in there to help you make a good run in that event.
Yeah, I think the biggest thing I remember is just kind of close your eyes and go all in on the first hand, and it should work out.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. I
did say that.
I think I did that.
I don't think you actually did.
I didn't do that either. Wes, I'm so happy to be back in the studio with you, having a face-to-face conversation. I feel like it's been a few episodes, so
It has.
happy to be back here. Should we get into it?
Yeah. Also, to end that last part, I'm also playing the main event.
Okay.
I don't know if I mentioned that. But
Okay, yeah, I
definitely
suppose that's
playing the main.
important. I actually will not be playing that because then I will be actually going out to Reno for a little snowboarding trip myself. Hopefully my neck is recovered by then, because right now I look like a damn robot. You know what I mean? There's no head on a
It's like I'm
swivel.
looking in a mirror right now.
Oh, nice. I like where you took that. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, so hopefully you can ship the main while I'm gone.
I feel like I should.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You do, I mean, historically over the past year, you've done pretty dang well at Canterbury Mains.
I did, yeah, last year I got third in this mystery bounty this weekend and fourth in the main event, which was 1,100 last year, 800 this year.
What was that? What did you score there?
32K for that one.
Nice. So what about the mystery bounty?
I was like 12, just is 11.9, I think.
That's a pretty good series.
It was. I only got one bounty and I knocked out the person who was in fourth place. But, you know, it was a good run. And then, yeah, obviously second in the Fall Poker Classic main. That was, yeah, last
We
year.
weren't talking about the Fall Poker Classic.
Well, we were talking about Canterbury last year.
Oh, I suppose you're
And
right. Okay, you're right.
That Canterbury
how you
went well
run there.
last
Yeah.
year. Yeah.
So you have crushed it at Canterbury. I actually, I've not done well at Canterbury in quite a while, or at least had a decent score there. It's been a minute, but I mean, to be honest with you, my volume isn't high there. I play there maybe like 3 times a year now, maybe something like that. But anyways, going back to my Winter Poker Classic, not that you asked, last year, I actually
You made a pretty deep run, didn't you?
yeah, it was actually really deep. I was on a cruise during the entire series. I came back from the cruise and maximum late reg the main event, the only event I got to play, and ended up busting firsthand.
Yeah. That's right. I remember you weren't there for the mystery bounty.
Yeah. So I had pocket jacks. I opened it. I think I got 3-bet, called it off because I was short, obviously, because I max late regged, and we lost. So that was a fun event. Got home from the trip, which was incredible. Went and fired that, busted, came home, and got back on the grind. So
Nice.
yeah.
Perfect. Well, I think now we can kind of transition into this episode, which is going to be part 2 of our story.
Yeah.
Today we're going to hear a lot about your poker story, how you got into it, how you got better, what you love about the game, what it means to you, maybe some downsides of it too.
Oh, there's plenty of those.
There's plenty.
Wes.
There has to be.
Not everybody runs as pure as you do in your story.
I mean,
Should I just get into it?
let's just get into it.
All
Yeah.
right. So, trying to think about where to start. I will. Let's go back to when I was like 7 or 8 years old. It's probably like 1994, 1995.
Yeah. I was born in 94.
I thought you were born in like 2008 or something.
Hey, pretty much.
Oh, I was close. Anyways, my dad is actually a professional bowler for a long time, and now he's retired. But he would bowl in 3 different leagues a week, so I would attend each night with him. I spent a lot of time growing up in bowling alley arcades. Actually,
That's
like,
pretty cool.
NFL Blitz champion, bro. Like, come at me. I played the crap out of that game. A ton of different arcade games. But anyways, on Friday nights, my dad would bowl at a place called Falcon Bowl. I believe this was in St. Paul. It's off Snelling, if I remember correctly, or was. I don't believe it's actually a bowling alley anymore. But he would bowl Friday nights, and then I would sit at the arcade. And then after they were done bowling, my dad and his friends would go into this back room, and they would actually play poker. It was a dimly lit room. It's pretty sick. They'd be smoking stogies, drinking alcohol.
Can I just say this sounds like the exact sort of stereotype of what people think of when they think of poker, you know?
It does. It does. And you know, one thing I kind of want to add to that is a lot of people hate like the smell of cigarettes, and myself included, right? Like it gets gross now, especially since I'm not around all the time. But when I see like a dimly lit room that kind of smells like cigarettes, I get this big feeling of nostalgia.
Yeah. I know what you mean.
Yeah.
Not for that specific
Yeah,
reason.
for that specific reason. It just kind of reminds me of my childhood. It's disgusting, but there's something kind of cool about it at the same time. So I remember that they would let me sit at the table occasionally and sling some cards around. They would gamble for money. Obviously, I didn't.
Yeah.
But there's always been a little bit of gamble in my family history. So that's kind of where I was introduced to the game. Past that, I didn't really have a big history with playing poker. Not much, at least. My dad did play online pre-Black Friday. He would play sit and goes. He was a sit and go grinder. Play him almost every night, honestly, which is super cool. So I got tangled into that. But in 2003, when Chris Moneymaker won the World Series of Poker main event, I was, I believe, a sophomore in high school. I graduated in 05. So yeah, that makes sense. A friend of mine named Tristan hosted a home game. Nobody knew what the heck was going on. There's probably like 15 to 18 of us in his basement.
Yeah.
I have no idea what the result of that game was, but it was the first tournament I ever actually played, which was super cool. That was my first like actual time sitting down. We had all the friends in the basement. And then I think we only did that once or twice, right? But I caught some sort of like bug. From that point, I always had a desire to play poker. And I remember I wasn't quite 18 yet, but there was all these bars around my house that provided free bar poker almost every single night of the week.
Yeah.
I wasn't able to play them, but once I turned 18, I ended up playing at this place called Pavlitsky's. They would have poker 5 nights a week and 2 sessions. I think it was like 7, 9 p.m. you could play. And it was just weird turbo tournaments, live tournaments. My friend Nelson and I, still one of my best friends to this day, he actually doesn't play poker anymore, but that's kind of where we would cut our chops. You'd go there 5 nights a week and you could win either like $50 for first place or a $25 gift card for second place.
Yeah, well, and, you know, this reminds me of like when I first started out and winning that kind of money, you know, even back then
I was
when you're
broke.
younger. Yeah, like it's fun and you know, it means a little something. It's some spending money or whatever. Like when you're not used to winning money for doing a game.
Yeah, no.
You know.
I probably did that for a couple of years before I kind of burned out on it. I don't remember how many times I won. It was a handful of times. I'll tell you one thing. While I did get a lot of experience seeing the cards and kind of experiencing how to play and getting, you know, seeing reactions from players and kind of internalizing that kind of stuff, I really didn't get better from playing bar poker. Mm-hmm. There wasn't really anyone good that I was learning from at the time. I didn't know any concepts. I'd just be like, I have a flush draw, I'm all in. You know what I mean? Like there wasn't, it was as thin as that, right? Or as shallow as that. There wasn't much beyond that.
Yes.
And it didn't change. That didn't really change. I'd say until, well, I don't want to get ahead of myself, but that changed more so after 2010. Mm-hmm. I did have a little bit of a history before that, though. I played a lot of poker as a bad poker player.
You know, everyone's got to, though, right?
Yeah, I think me a little bit more than you, though. But I think also when I was playing at that time, it was before like anyone was actually really good or had theoretical knowledge of how to play the game, right? Mm-hmm. There was no GTO. There's nothing like that to study. It was just talk about it with your friends and play patient was like the best strategy you could have in a tournament. Yeah,
that's so cool because it's cool to hear about, you know, back in the days when there weren't those sort of tools. And the game was such a mystery, even to good players in a way.
Yeah. And, you know, I still loved it. I still loved playing all the time. Me and my friend Alex, or Nelson as I called him. So that kind of died down. However, my dad was still playing a ton of sit and goes at that time on full tilt. I remember sweating him. There's a seven-step sit and go thing where if you made it through all 7, if you could win like 7 sit and goes in a row, you would get a World Series of Poker 10K main event seat plus travel money. So like $12,500 worth of money.
Pretty cool.
Yeah. And so you get to like seat 5. And then if you lost, you go back down to 4, right? So you didn't actually have to win all of them in a row.
Oh,
yeah.
So it was like a ladder.
Kind of, yeah. You get knocked down if you didn't do it. And some of those you could just buy into. You just have to pay more money. You could buy into like level 4 or level 5, right?
Right.
And then I think to buy into level 7 was over 1,000 or even.
It makes sense.
Even more, right? Yeah. So, anyways, my dad worked his way all the way up from I think $5. Mm-hmm. And then he got to the seventh sit and go, and on his first try, shipped the damn thing.
That's amazing.
Yeah, and I was so pumped. I was like, oh my gosh, you can win a lot of money playing online poker, right? He ended up taking the cash out option for like 10 grand straight and just put it into his account, which was really cool.
Yeah, it's probably the smart thing to do, but it doesn't have the same sort of thrill to it.
Right. No, definitely not. I didn't care either way. It wasn't my money.
It wasn't you.
Yeah. But my dad actually let me play on his account, which is now heavily frowned upon, I believe.
Yeah.
I didn't know as a young gun. I mean, it was 18 to 20. It was the Wild West back then. So he's like, hey, I'm going to bed. Here's a $5 tournament if you want to enter it, right? Mm-hmm. And I was like, heck yeah, I'll stay up all night and play this thing. So I ended up entering that, and I won it for like $1,200.
Yeah.
And this was my first score ever.
Yeah. And so just to clarify, even though this was his account, was this your money that did he say you get to keep the money if you win?
I get to keep the money, right,
nice,
right.
Nice.
So yeah, I didn't have an account at the time. I'm trying to think, you know, I might get some of these years mixed up. If I was 18 or not, I don't recall, honestly. So I hit that $1,200 score, and he let me cash it out.
Nice.
So I was super excited about that. I finally had, I didn't have $1,200 to my name back then, you know what I mean? So that was a big deal for me. But not long after Black Friday happened, I'd suppose, let's see, 2010, I think April 2010 is when Black Friday.
2011.
2011,
Yeah.
right. So actually, by that point, I had created an account. I didn't run it up to millions like a lot of people claim they did. Who knows, right?
Yeah.
I remember talking to a lot of people like, I had hundreds of thousands on Full Tilt, and then I lost it all. I think I probably had a few $100s on there or
Sure.
something. That all got taken away from me, not a big deal. But then I found Running Aces.
Yep.
And to those who aren't local to Minnesota, Running Aces is a local card room casino. It doesn't have like slots or anything like that. It's strictly a
Right.
card room and a harness track. So they do horse racing and stuff like that. Yeah, I ended up firing like a $150 tournament in 2011 or something like that. And at this time, I was working as a PCA at a group home. So I would work overnights.
Yeah.
And I was absolutely obsessed with poker at this time. I'm kind of getting ahead of myself, but we'll get back to that Running Aces $150 tournament in a minute.
Okay.
Backtracking here a little bit, I worked at this group home and I would do overnights, so I'd get paid to sleep at night. But instead of sleeping, I would sit up all night and watch Jason Somerville, otherwise known as Jay Carver, on Twitch. He was the first poker streamer from my knowledge, or to my knowledge. And he was so good at explaining the game and teaching these different concepts while he would play. So that's where I learned, all these different things, even like c-betting. I didn't even barely know what that was in 2010.
You were probably doing it sometimes.
I would always do it, right? But I didn't know the names of these concepts. I didn't really read books at this point. But he got me locked into the game and the actual, the thinking behind it.
Mm-hmm.
At that point forward, I ended up buying a bunch of different books. I remember I bought Daniel Negreanu's Poker Tips book. I don't know. I got like 14 books right back there. But I ended up buying a bunch of books and studying. Went to Running Aces, played a $150 tournament, and won that I chopped it 3 ways or something for like $2,300.
It's a good feeling.
Man, working at as a PCA, you don't make a ton of money.
Right.
But even more so now at this point, I was passionate. I was falling in love. I would go home from work, whatever job I was working, if it was either the group home or what, and I was still living with my parents at this time, I would watch every single episode of the WPT possible every single night. I would fall asleep to it every night. I wouldn't say it necessarily made me a better player, but I just got to see what a lot of really good players were doing, even though like 90% of that show was like Royal Flush girls dancing. And then like,
was it?
Yeah, like 10% of the show was hands.
Oh, okay.
And then most of it was just entertainment type stuff.
Yeah.
So you didn't really get to see much other than the entertainment stuff.
But it sort of fed your...
It did, though. Like, I'd see these poker stars and they're famous, and I'm like, man, I want to make a ton of money and be a poker star. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
It was super cool. So that was kind of my goal at that point in my life. I kept grinding from 2011 all the way up until like 2014, kind of getting better, but not really. In 2014, I ended up getting out of a long-term relationship and started playing poker full-time.
Yeah. Like, when you say full-time, do you mean that was like what you did, or you just played a lot more?
I never have strictly played poker only as my profession.
Okay, yeah.
I've always had side jobs or a full-time job for that matter.
A job. And poker's been sort of a semi-professional. Like at this point, I would say you consider yourself like semi-professional.
Right. So what is a professional, right? In my eyes, what a professional player is someone who makes a successful living only doing that.
Correct.
Only
yeah.
playing poker, right? I think I play poker on a professional level. However, I'm not the type of person to do one thing. As many of you who actually know me outside of this podcast or in person, I'm all over the place.
Yeah.
My main profession is a realtor. I started that in 2014 as well, got licensed.
Mm-hmm.
Both my parents have been realtors my entire life. So that was kind of where I was going to go next in my career, right? I always kind of considered playing poker full-time, but I knew the variance already at that point could be bad. And I honestly wasn't even that good. So I didn't win a ton of money.
Yeah.
I remember playing the double stacks at Running Aces and crushing those for quite some time. That was literally like, I'd bring home $800 every 2 weeks from one of my jobs, right?
Right.
But then all of a sudden I have $10K in my pocket from winning double stack.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
The ratio of money you can win
Yeah.
is insane. Obviously, you have, the losses too.
in my early 20s, leading up to my late 20s, I wasn't very responsible with money, though.
Sure.
There was a big learning curve for me there. I wasn't taught it very well. Like, it wasn't something that was implemented or taught to me at a young age. So I kind of had to learn it the hard way. But I always did want to be successful, and I knew that was a step I had to take. So I ended up going busto with my 10K bankroll as a young 22-year-old kid, just firing whatever, like, oh, MSPT's coming up. Let's fire 3 bullets. Yeah, let's fire 3 bullets at that.
Yeah.
You learn the hard way sometimes. So I ended up playing, I think, my first MSPT in 2013 or 2014.
Yeah.
I remember I marked on my 2013 or 2014 New Year's resolution that I wanted to win an MSPT bracelet.
Yes.
I don't know if many of you guys know, if you haven't played in a long time or haven't played MSPTs for a long time, but MSPTs used to give out sweet bracelets instead of their now, trophies with the spade with the sunglasses and headphones that you can see right there on my shelf.
Those are pretty cool too.
Yeah, no, it was kind of like the World Series though, right? So I wanted to win that bracelet. So I put on my New Year's resolution, and that was kind of my primary goal at the time. Win an MSPT. That was the end all be all, right? Even though I wanted a bracelet, that wasn't my focus at that point. So from like 2014 to 2016, I grinded as much as I could. I hit up my first World Series of poker, ended up making some good runs. I played the inaugural Monster Stack event and made day 3 the first time it ever happened.
Was that your very first event? I feel like you mentioned that at some point.
Yeah, so the Monster Stack 2014 was my very first World Series of Poker event. It was also the inaugural Monster Stack.
Mm-hmm.
Deep into day 2, I got Aaron Johnson at my table.
Yeah.
This was actually...
For those who aren't from Minnesota, Aaron Johnson's one of the well-known Minnesota crushers.
He might even transcend Minnesota at this point. You know what I mean?
I think a lot of people. He had some accidental Twitter beef with Alan Kessler too. But
we were all there to defend him.
Yeah,
they called him they were like, didn't they say he like plays way too slow or something?
Yeah, Alan said that. I remember we all kind of jumped on.
Like, bro, Aaron has never ever been known for playing slow.
Yeah,
he thinks and it's methodical, but it's never been like beyond any sort of like line that's, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Anyways, so he was at your table at the Monster Stack.
Yeah. And before I kind of go further in that, this was my first summer. I had a friend, Ryan, invite me out to a house in Vegas with a bunch of poker players who I'd never met before. I'd know who they were from locally. It turns out that those players were like, and these are all Minnesota players, Aaron Johnson, Dave Gagne, Vlad Revniaga.
Yep.
Who else was there? Anyways, yeah, I can't even remember, but we were all staying in one house together. And I finally got to like throw hands off these people that I looked up to now, right? These were the crushers, right? The Minnesota crushers. So I developed relationships with these guys, still friends with most of them to this day. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Just through poker, but that got me super pumped. Had a profitable first World Series of poker.
That's good.
However, things weren't smooth at MSPTs immediately for me.
Yes.
I think I probably went like, I don't know the exact number. It's probably like 0-10 or 0-15 for my first however many MSPTs. I did not cash one for a long time.
That's tough too, especially when that's like at the highest end of your buy-ins.
Yeah, it was brutal. And I played a lot of satellites back then. I remember I'd have like $800 to my name and then fire like 2 satties and then live off like $300 for 2 weeks.
That's a feat in itself.
Yeah, and I was living either with my girlfriend somewhere or living with a friend in a house or something like that. The good news is I wasn't married. I didn't have responsibilities. Mm-hmm. I didn't have credit card debt. I thankfully didn't have to deal with that kind of stuff. But
yeah,
it was just
you were still living on the edge a bit though.
I was living on the edge a bit, and those are things part of my past that it's funny to reflect on now because I'm completely different from that now.
Oh, this is sitting here. It's funny because I've known you well for only really a year.
Yeah,
and I do see that side. It makes sense, but it's cool to hear because it's so different from what my poker journey is like.
Yeah.
It has sort of the living in the moment, living on the edge side of it is kind of cool.
So that girlfriend I broke up with in
2014, yeah.
I chased her. She moved to Colorado, and I chased her all the way out to Colorado.
Yeah.
Being a snowboarder, it was like a dream come true. I was like, I'm going to go out there, get a job.
So you lived in Colorado for a bit.
I did. In 2015, I moved out to Colorado.
Okay, so you guys... Did you get back together?
We got back together in Colorado. Yeah, that's like I'm in love with you. I'm going to chase you across the country. but it's Colorado and I love snowboarding, so let's go.
Win-win.
Yeah. So I got out to Colorado. I got a job serving at a steakhouse immediately. I would go to Black Hawk, which is the casinos in the mountains out there in Colorado.
Yeah. First place we traveled to.
Yeah, it's the first place you and I traveled to. So I would play their dailies right at the same casino that MSPT runs their events at now. What is that called now? I'm drawing a blank.
Bally's.
Yeah. I don't know if it was called Bally's then, though. I think it was called something else. Anyways, it doesn't matter. I played a few events while I was in Colorado, not too much poker while I was out there. Long story short, I broke back up with my girlfriend, came back home. And then I started taking real estate a lot more seriously at that point. That was when I was like, I'm going to grind poker and I'm going to make money at real estate. And those are going to be my two incomes, right? At the same time, I also got a job at Medtronic.
Yeah. I'm seeing how you want to do multiple things. I see how that's coming together.
I am not someone who likes to do one thing all day. I have so many passions and so many hobbies that I enjoy splitting my time up. As they say, jack of all trades, master of none.
Sure.
However, I think I've done some of these trades for so long and consistently now that I've reached the upper echelon of skill in them.
Yeah.
If you could put it that way.
Yeah, I think that's fair to say.
Yeah. I'm definitely not the greatest poker player of all time, but I find myself a very, very good poker player. Top skill level. Top shelf.
Okay,
Top shelf.
buddy.
What else can I say? No, I'm just kidding.
I should just follow you when you're showing a house sometime. I'm like, is this guy really as good at everything as he says?
Man. I'd actually, you know what's funny is I like showing houses.
Yeah.
It's
that makes sense.
Yeah, as you know, I've been doing it with my parents since I was a little kid back when they'd use like MapQuest and print out the directions.
Yeah.
Getting sidetracked here. 2016 came. I'm now working at Medtronic. I'm now doing real estate. I'm full-time Medtronic, full-time real estate, and full-time poker. I'm a busy guy. Early in 2016, I played the Cheap and Deep in Canterbury, and I've never had any significant results up to this point.
Yeah.
But I've been chasing them hard, right?
At this point, would you say you had been a winning player, or you kind of like...
Yeah, I would say definitely in the dailies a winning player. I spent most, like, let's say between 2012 to 2016, I was playing $150 to $300 buy-in events primarily. And I mean, if you go look at my Hendon, there's just a slew of first places during that time. I definitely grinded those out. I started building a little reputation for myself. However, I still hadn't hit any big scores, and I probably demolished a lot of my bankroll firing MSPTs at that point.
Right. Yeah. I guess that's what. So it's like you were clearly a winning player. You were a good player, but like financially speaking, you weren't like.
I shot took a little too much.
Yeah. That makes sense.
So with my bankroll, I shot took a little too much, definitely. But again, I had other sources of income, so I was never like on the streets, right?
Correct. Yeah, and I think that's important too. It's like
it doesn't make it right, but it was something I could learn from.
It makes it a little bit. It makes it a lot better in the sense that like when you and we talked about it in our other episode, like when you're managing a bankroll, it's more of a thing. If you're doing this full time, you have to. You absolutely have to manage it. Whereas, like, if you have sources of income.
Yeah, and this is a full disclosure episode. I want people to understand, because I get a lot of people that come up to me and be like, oh my gosh, you won this much money. Oh my gosh, you won this much money. And it's just like, the first thing I tell almost everybody who comes up to me and says that is like, hey, it's not as glorious as it looks.
Oh, it absolutely is.
There's a lot of slamming the desks, throwing the computer at my window, punching bums on the street. I'm just kidding. I didn't say that. I'm just kidding. I would never do that. But I just wanted to get a reaction out of US. Anyways, 2016, I fired up the Cheap and Deep. I think it was their inaugural Cheap and Deep, if I remember correctly.
Sure.
We got to the final table. My first big final table was like 30K up top or something like that.
Yeah.
I think I was like 6th or 7th in chips, and someone raised the idea. They're like, you guys want to chop the whole, like, 9-handed chop, and everybody gets 10K or something like that with what was remaining in the prize pool?
Yeah.
And I had never had a 10K score, a 5-figure score at this point. Everybody raised their hand, but I didn't.
That's amazing.
I didn't raise my hand. I was like, I'm ready to go. I'm ready to make it happen.
I'm gonna do this or die.
I was hungry, and that was but then all of a sudden, the kid to my right looked at me and he goes, I'll give you $1,000 out of my 10K if you take it, if you chop right now.
Wow.
And I was like, I'll get the most money with like the 6th biggest stack. I was like, all right, threw my hand up, got 11K, got out of there. So
wow.
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, I'm a negotiator, Wes. It's just what
yeah.
maybe
that's
real
pretty
estate
incredible.
plays into that a little bit. I'd have to do that a lot in real estate.
It probably does.
So 2016 was a really good year for me. I ended up doing decent in MSPTs and actually won my first and only MSPT late. It might have been 2017.
I think it was 17.
2017. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's still quite some time ago now. So,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, between, in 2016, 17, I started playing more MSPTs. I would sell action only to my parents. So they had 20% of everything I played.
Yeah.
And they were
That's
about
kind
it.
of cool.
Yeah, they had fun. They supported me throughout all of my poker days, right? I never had to hide anything from them. They would buy action. They'd make money off it. I sold them 20% of my MSPT Meskwaki in 2017.
Yeah. And that was like 90K.
And I won it for 90K. And I was elated. I remember they streamed the poker table. My whole family got to watch the final table. My friends got to watch it. And I felt like I played incredibly, right? I just scooped through. I think I won one crucial flip that kind of like put me in a spot to close it. And I did.
How did that feel afterwards? Like,
I felt like I was the best poker player in the world.
yeah.
I
mean, you're probably top 5.
Yeah, I didn't check myself hard enough, right? Like, I'm always been a humble person. I won't go tell everybody I'm the best, but I felt incredible. I felt like a lot of the work I had put into poker had started paying off at this point. Again, I still wasn't theoretically what's the word for it? I wasn't theoretically like strong at that point in my career. Like, I just was pretty tight. I kind of tightened my game a little bit, especially later in tournaments. I'd be a little bit looser to try and build it and then play tighter later in stages of tournaments. I ended up the next year 2018, going on the biggest downswing of my life right after hitting
Yeah.
that MSPT.
Well, and one quick question. You had another very deep MSPT run, either that, like before that downswing. I don't know if
Oh
it
yeah,
was
I didn't bring that up.
Yeah.
Thank you for bringing that up. So before I won my my MSPT that same year, earlier in 2017, if I remember correctly, I went out to the Venetian during the World Series of Poker. I think it was. I
Okay.
think it was during the World Series of Poker.
I know they run them during.
Yeah, it might have been even before it. Anyways, it was a $1,100 buy-in, $3.5 million guarantee.
Wow.
It had around 3,500 entries,
Okay.
and
And how much was up top? Was it close to $500,000?
almost $500,000, like 460 or something like that.
Yeah.
I ended up. We had 15 left. I was probably third in chips.
Yeah. It's
It
a
was-
great spot to be.
Yeah, I remember getting lucky quite a few times up to that point as well. Like, it wasn't smooth sailing. I got it in bad a couple times. Sometimes you got to do that.
Yeah. You got to have a couple of those.
Got lucky, but then I remember a player under the gun goes all in with a shorter stack. I don't remember the details too well at this point, but I flatted it as a trap and got
And you had aces.
and I had pocket aces.
Yep.
I got the big blind to come along. Long story short, he flopped trips and I got it all in versus him as well, and ended up just decimating my stack at that point. So I went into the final table, I think 8 of 9 or 9 of 9. Mm-hmm. I think I got 8th or 9th in that tournament.
I think ninth is what you told me.
I think
Yeah.
9th is right. So yeah, I ended up for 12 big blinds folds me in the cutoff with King Queen O. I ended up jamming it, and to my direct left was Jacob Balsiger, who got third in the 2012 WSOP main event.
Yep.
The year Merson won it.
Yep.
God, I love watching the main event. I'm about to go on a tangent, but anyways, he called off with Ace Jack suited, and we ended up busting there for like 42 grand. So that was my biggest score at the time.
Yeah, so that's got to be. It's sort of weird because like that had to feel great in a sense, like it was your biggest score, and also there's got to be some disappointment that you feel like you could have just had a huge 6-figure score too.
Yeah, and exactly. So maybe an hour after I busted, they chopped it like 4 or 5 ways for like well over 6 figures each.
Yeah,
Like I'm almost 200K each or something like that. So that was bittersweet, obviously, at that point. And you know what? I really got ahead of myself because at this point I was really feeling like a strong player because in 2016, in the fall, I won the Running Aces Turkey tournament.
yeah. Well, and I think
That's way
both
up
of these trophies are on the right over here.
Yeah,
if I
that
take a
big,
look.
beautiful trophy up there. So that
Yeah.
I won for 22 grand outright, no chop.
And that's your picture on Hendon.
That's my picture on hand
Yeah.
if you go see that. Yeah, back when I wore glasses and stuff before I got LASIK. that was a huge turning point in my career, right? So I won 10 or 11K in the cheap and deep, then went and won the turkey tournament at Running Aces, and then final tabled the biggest MSPT ever at the time, and then won the MSPT all within like a year and a half.
Yeah, that's pretty cool.
So that was like, I was on top of the world, felt like I was playing incredibly. And then I went on the biggest downswing of my career.
That'll happen. So now we're 2018.
We're 2018. I got a big bankroll. I'm traveling everywhere. I'm playing everything, and I'm getting zero results. If there are any results, they're min cashes. I had no significant results.
Was it, and so the progression too, like obviously it's normal to lose, to do some, have losses in poker tournaments. And I'm sure at the beginning of this downswing, you still felt great and the losses didn't really hurt.
Oh, almost all the way through 2018, I still felt great because I still had a great bankroll, but I was not having any results at all, right?
Yeah.
At this point, thankfully with my MSPT earnings, I invested a lot. I paid off my school, paid off my car, and I bought a house.
Yeah, there you go.
Or put
a down payment.
Yeah. Right. So, So, and that buying that house was the best financial decision in my life to this point. Now I'm using it as a rental, and it's got, I got income coming from that monthly. So I was thankful to take that score and not just blast it on poker right away. I invested it.
Yeah. That's important to do too.
Yeah. Definitely want to mention that. So make sure if you guys are hitting big scores out there, take a chunk of that and invest it for your future.
Yeah.
It pays dividends later in life for sure. So thankful for
quite
that.
literally.
Yeah, and I'm very thankful because those houses, especially when I bought in 2016, I bought that house for $200K and now it's worth $340K, right? And I paid down a bunch of equity on it. So anyways, a bunch of equity there. Back to the downswing. I had a couple, I think I had an MSPT final table somewhere in there. I was having okay results playing on Ignition and ACR at that point.
Okay.
And then both online and live kind of at the same time, I just couldn't do anything for almost 2 years.
Yeah. That's rough.
It was rough. I just could not hit a big score to save my life. I felt like I was burned out at this point. And you know what I think attributed to that was I hit my goal.
You had decided you really wanted to win an MSPT.
Yeah.
And then you did, and you just
didn't know
what to do.
I didn't set a next higher goal at that point. I did think I'm going to win another one, or I'm going to win a bracelet. I'm the best, right? Mm-hmm. But I kind of laid back on the things that I enjoyed most, which was watching and learning, talking, poker, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Studying. So I went on a pretty big downswing for those couple years, and then COVID hit. I final tabled another MSPT at the beginning, I think right before COVID happened, or right before they closed tournaments.
Okay.
Could have been right after as well. I remember in the final table picture, I was wearing a mask.
It must have been after, because I don't think people wore the masks.
Yeah,
before
maybe.
Then.
Yeah, you're probably right. I think it was late 2020 then.
Yeah, that makes sense.
Maybe it was Riverside or something like that.
No, you know what?
Well,
I remember we...
Okay, robot.
Yeah. I think it was Grand Falls, because I remember we looked it up.
It was Grand Falls.
Yeah,
you're right.
Because you did final table Riverside more recently. Though.
Yeah.
But we'll get there.
Yeah. So I really didn't know where I stood in terms of being a good poker player at this point in my career. I was very down. I hadn't had significant scores after just crushing, after just absolutely crushing. So I went on this massive downswing. Then post-COVID came along, and I met you.
Yeah.
Yeah, it was pretty sick. You and me met, and I had a few decent results before I met you, but after I met you, I found that passion again because you kind of, this being straightforward with you, you helped me bring my thought process to a new level. I started exploring new areas of the game that I had never been a part of, the theory side of things, really diving into ranges from positions, playing sizes, 3-betting properly, playing game selections. There's so much to it, right? So you kind of invigorated that love of the game for me in a way that I hadn't had since I won my MSPT.
I'm glad to hear that.
Yeah, I don't think I've ever told you that.
I don't think you definitely have not said that. You've said that I've made you think of more theory related stuff.
Right.
Yeah,
No, but you definitely.
It's nice to hear.
Yeah, you've definitely helped me bring the hunger back. And by the way, guys, I know we've mentioned this before. Wes does coaching, so
I do
plug for
coaching.
him. Yeah, a little plug for him. He has helped not only me but a bunch of other people really open their game up. So I'm thankful for you for that, Wes. 2023 came along, and bam, like
yeah, seriously. So, I mean, I remember we sat next to each other at the Avalanche. We decided to go to Colorado for the MSPT
at the beginning of 2023. Yep. So
Yeah.
Avalanche, we both cashed it.
Yep.
I asked you, I was like, hey, I'm going to Colorado for the MSPT. This is early January 2023 or later January 2023. I'm going to go out there and snowboard, but I have a free room if you want to chop it up and drive with me out there. So being the psychopath I am, I invited this complete stranger on like a 13-hour drive with me.
Yeah, we literally drove it with all the stops and stuff. We probably spent like each way 15 or 16 hours in the car because we like stopped and took a nap in the car.
Yeah. So it ended up being super cool. We had talked a bunch and got to know each other a ton. You introduced me to the poker guys that week.
Yeah, that's right.
Who we had on our podcast recently interviewing them. That's when I first found out about them. And then I ended up getting fourth in that tournament.
You did, yeah. And I know we were talking about swaps earlier. I can't believe we didn't swap that one because, yeah, you had you fired one bullet. You went snowboarding the next day. You had a great time. You got fourth, and I played every day one, and I busted, I think, 4 bullets in that one. And
do you remember, like, right when we got there, we both fired a satellite because, like,
yeah,
and you got set over set or something?
Oh, this is a crazy. We drove from 6 p.m. the night before and got there at like 9 or 10 in the morning, and
that sounds about right.
Yeah, and
our room wasn't ready.
Our room wasn't going to be ready for a few hours, and so there's a satellite. And which we played, and I actually got set over setted on like the first hand, but then I rebought and I did qualify, so I got in cheap for my first bullet at least. But we were so dead tired. We each probably had slept like 2 hours, and
I remember I took most of the driving on just because that's kind of my style. Like I kind of like hate being on the passenger just because I'm probably scared or something. I don't know.
Yeah, no, that was kind of insane in itself. Like we had just driven 15 hours and barely slept, and then we just hop right in this satellite.
Yeah.
And then
I think neither one of us qualified.
No, I did.
Well, you did, but you busted
away.
away.
I busted right away, and then I
set over set. Remember, I was like, "You got a set, don't you, Wes?" And you're like, "Yeah." And then
the guy just has top set.
I was like, "Oh man, that's brutal." I ended up only firing one time, didn't get it, but then I fired the main later that day.
Yep,
and bagged piles, I think.
Yeah. I mean, I don't remember what you bagged exactly.
Somewhere between 180 and 220, I think.
That sounds right.
Which is probably good for 40-ish bigs or 50-ish, 60-ish bigs, something like that.
Yeah. Well, you know what I remember is on day 2, right before the money, you texted me. You got it in somehow like 10s against queen 8 suited, and you're like, he flopped an 8. And
this guy, everybody, like, preface this guy was
a maniac.
He was a maniac with a ton of chips, and we were stone bubble.
Yeah.
Like, or maybe just before. Was it stone bubble?
I don't remember which one, but I remember this is when I got a taste for your little flair because you texted me, got it in queen 10s against queen 8, flop like ace 8 something, turn queen, and you send like a sad face, and then you wait a minute and you said river 10.
And it was kind of smooth sailing from there. I just ended up, I was like chip leading for like from like top 20 all the way down to the final table. Like it just was running super good. I was running super good, got to the final table with heaps, got down to 4, had almost half the chips in play. Homeboy offers a chop. Me being the greedy bastard I am, denied the chop.
Yeah, at this point, when it was 4-handed, if you had done an ICM chop, you would have gotten over 100K easily.
Well over, yeah. And I said no, I didn't chop. Then proceeded to double that same person up, and then right after I doubled him up, I ran ace king into his aces.
Yeah. Oh man. Yeah. Well, because I remember I was watching at that point, and
yeah,
Yeah, that was too bad. You still cashed for what, 57,000?
57. That was, even though I went out fourth, I had no regrets. No regrets. I had one of my best friends, David Gagne, at the table with me in the final four with me, and we were all just battling. It was, no soft play like we're here for blood. It was sick. I even rejected the chop with him. I probably would have chopped with him eventually.
If you two were heads up,
yeah, maybe then. But that was a super, super fun time. He ended up getting third. I got fourth. So that started off 2023 with a bang. All of a sudden, I had a roll. I had a roll. I'm trying to think what happened. You introduced me to global poker right after that.
Yeah.
I got into global poker and started having good results immediately on global. I won. They have a tournament called the Super. So they have two nightly tournaments. They have the 99 and the 218 that I would grind. There's a lot more than two, but those are the two that I would grind. The 99, $12,500 guarantee, and the 218, $15K guarantee. It's usually like 3,500 and then like 4,500 up top on, and for those two. I ended up shipping them both and then shipping the $99 Super multiple times. So
that was really your tournament.
Yeah,
and then I remember that specifically because I don't think I've even to this day finished top 3 in it.
Really?
That tournament has cost me about as much as I paid for my car. So
that's sick. And I think I've won it like 4 or 5 times.
Probably.
Yeah, I've got second in it like 3 times. Then I ended up, I got 3 final tables in 2023, if I remember correctly. Or was it
what?
MSPTs.
I think you had 2 MSPTs.
2 MSPT final tables and then like 2 or 3 top 15 finishes.
Yeah, you definitely had some other where you were at the final 2 tables. Then you had the circuit ring. You had like, not the ring, but you got like a couple final tables.
We went to the circuit. I final tabled the circuit main in Council Bluffs. We went out to Vegas, and Wes and I and a couple of friends played a bunch of shit out there. That was a ton of fun. That's when Wes ended up banking third in the Gladiator for $210K. I had a bunch of online success at that time. I was actually doing good online and live. So we were playing, I don't even remember. I didn't have any big scores, but I cashed a ton of events. So it was like a bunch of cashes. So it ended up being a decent summer for me. I didn't lose any money.
Yeah.
Anytime you don't lose money at the World Series, it's a good summer. And then if you win $210K,
I mean, I wouldn't know what it's like to lose at the World Series.
Well, that's because you've only played one, right?
3.
Oh, is this your third?
Yeah.
Okay. Anyways.
I'm probably jinxing myself, and this year I'm just going to get dusted.
Speaking of which, tomorrow, word on the street is tomorrow, the World Series of Poker schedule for 2024 is coming out.
Yeah, which means if you're listening to this the day it comes out, it might be coming out today as you're listening.
Yeah, and if that's the case, you guys are going to get an in-depth schedule preview from Wes and I next week, and I'm really looking forward to doing that episode.
That'll be fun.
I get all giddy, you know what I mean?
Oh, there's nothing like being out at the World Series and just where it's like the only thing you can do is poke. Not literally, but it's like the reason you're here is to play these tournaments.
It's summer camp, right? Yeah. I mean, we play tournaments all day, you go back to the pool, you sit. You play tournaments all day, you go have a burger and a beer with your friend. Like, I don't party or do too much, but I will go and enjoy some really nice restaurants while I'm out there.
Yeah.
That's like my favorite thing to do besides play poker out there is.
I think I've told people I like 3 things about Vegas, and it's the poker, the food, and then the view. When you're like up high in a hotel and you can look at the whole strip.
I got to play some golf with my friends out there. I mean, it's just the dream, right? Mm-hmm. So, anyways, to end 2023, I ended up winning event 1 of the U.S. Poker Open on Global as well.
Yep.
So that got me kind of just fired up to finish the year strong. I don't think I had any scores after that, if I can remember correctly. I don't remember what month that was. That was later in the year.
That was still like, it wasn't that late, but I don't remember exactly.
Okay. So yeah, and then I just continued doing well in dailies and stuff like that, and that pretty much leads up to today. There's probably, some other stories in there that I'm missing, but that's kind of like the gist of it, I had, a huge 2016, 2017, went on a pretty big downswing in between then. You helped reinvigorate my game after I reached my top goal, and now I have new goals and a new hunger, and I'm back and I'm ready.
So what, whether it's for this year or just a general goal, like what would you say some of your poker goals are now.
Yeah, I know we've gone over this in our New Year's resolution episode, which you can find, from earlier January. I'm not going to set a monetary goal for this year,
Yeah.
but one of the biggest goals is keeping track completely of not only my poker results but my expenses along with it, and really dial in where I can cut things back, where I can make money, and really get an edge into that side of things.
Yeah.
I had already done that live, but I'm going to do it online as well now.
Yeah.
What other goals did I have for that? I mean, there's just a ton of them. Study daily with you. We've been marking hands down and reviewing them. And I know we've both been on vacation a lot lately, so that's something we'll have to kind of get back into. Also, it's funny I didn't bring this up in our story. Suited Kings Poker, man.
Yeah. The
So
pod.
it was right before the summer of 2023, the World Series of Poker. Wes and I are at one of the mini stops we had that year, and he's like, we should make a poker podcast.
Yeah. Michigan. I remember it was Michigan.
Was it Michigan Firekeepers? I never thought I'd be a poker podcaster or a podcaster in general. I have a history, like one of my mini hobbies is music production.
Mm-hmm.
I'm in an electronic band, Laserblade. You can find us on Spotify if you want to check that out. But I'm the producer, so like I have all the tools and a home studio already. And I was like, you know what? I have everything we need to do a podcast. We don't have to buy nothing. Like we can get in there and let's just start ripping at it. So we let the summer go by. And then right after the summer, we just started getting after it every single week.
Mm-hmm.
And now our goals for this year is to grow it to all new levels.
Yeah.
And we have a ton of content and ideas that are going to help do that. And we're really looking forward to bring them to you, including bringing short video formats that you can watch quickly to kind of pump yourself up, get you prepared. Those won't be too long. Those aren't too far out. So that's kind of where we'll be heading from there. Yeah. And then I guess at this point right now, my plans are looking like I just got married, got done with the honeymoon. I'm back on the Grizzly grind on Global, trying to find me a Grizzly trophy. The World Series of Poker schedule comes out tomorrow. Hopefully, I'm going to be digging into that and getting my summer plans prepared. And then we got Riverside and I think Running Aces before that for MSPTs.
We do. There will be another Canterbury thing in May, I believe. There's a Grand Falls MSPT.
Yeah, I don't miss any of the Iowa ones. They're just too good and too close.
Yeah, that sounds great.
That's my poker story, Wes. What do you think?
I love it. I really did like hearing about. It's so different how we got into it. And, obviously we both played like for fun at low stakes early on, but you had such a different sort of introduction to the game than I did.
Yeah. And it took me so I'm 37 now. For those who are struggling with like bankroll management and feeling like they're just like not to where they want to be financially and stuff like that, if you're older, too bad. You're kind of screwed. I'm just kidding. It's never too late. But it took me, for the young folks specifically, like I really went through some big learning lessons in my early 20s. And then as I approached 30, I started, growing up a little bit, and now I'm in a whole different part of my life. I'm financially responsible. I'm married. I have investments. You'll get there if you just keep your eyes, focused on growing each day.
That's an important thing to say, yeah. And I can kind of see, hearing this, how you can view my story as like such a smooth sail.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
Because like for me, I'm like, with anything, especially poker, it's like poker is never actually smooth. But for me, I did sort of do it differently, where I had sort of a traditional full-time job, just played poker mostly responsibly, and then sort of built it up and waited for that big score. It was a lot more of a smooth sail, and but it's cool to hear your story. And
well, I hope that when that, because, downswings and stuff like that are inevitable. So I hope that, if you or anyone else who's listening is on a downswing or experiences one in the future, that you can, as long as you take the proper steps, take a step back, work on your game, maybe lower your volume or lower your buy-ins, don't shot take as much, you'll get right back on track if you stick to it.
Yeah. I think, just focusing on doing the right things, the process, playing well. I think one thing that everyone can relate to is like having that vision of the glory.
Yeah.
And I think sometimes if you think too much about that, it can kind of, your expectations can be so high that reality can seem so disappointing. But if you just enjoy actually doing things and going through the process and enjoy that, then just take the results that come from it.
I do now. And you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like I reestablished that love for poker a couple of years ago now, or, a year and a half ago now. And it feels great. I'm happy to be here. I'm happy. Suited Kings also helps me, like the community we're building here. Everybody's involved. Everybody's a part of it just as much as we are. You know what I mean? So I want to thank everybody for listening, and hearing my story out, Wes's story out. We'll get back into the strategy in future episodes, but our goal with this was just to kind of give you guys a taste of what it's been like for us so far, and hope that if you relate with it, you can maybe learn from it as well.
Yeah. Well said.
Thanks, man. Well, Wes, you have a tournament to get to here not too long from now, in a couple hours.
Yeah.
Do you want to give me a teaser of what you're gonna? So it's the tag team event
team
tonight.
event, yeah.
You and Paul Carney are gonna tag up.
Paul Carney. I think this is our 6th time doing it.
You guys have a history of dressing up.
Yep. We've cashed the last 3 times, but we're definitely still down over the 5. We haven't final tabled or anything, but
Today's
the
give
day.
us a hint of what your costume is going to be. You guys always have a matching costume. Just give us a hint.
Let me just put it this way. This town ain't big enough for the both of us.
Yeah. I love it, man. All right, guys. Good luck at the Winter Poker Classic if you're a Minnesota player and playing that. Good luck to everybody else on whatever grind you're on. We will see you guys next week, hopefully with the World Series of Poker schedule episode diving into that. So until next time, Wes.
Until next time.
Talk to you guys soon.